capital market for 7 years. So we know that he had a lot of experience in capital market. Currently, he is working as CEO and also founder at Musafa, a platform for Sharia stock screening and education. Okay, without further wasting time, I will give the time to Mr. Dilshot. All right, Mr. Dilshot, please welcome. The time is yours.
Again, first of all, thank you so much for introduction. It's my honor to be here. And let's go ahead and start the webinar, inshallah. So as you described, alhamdulillah, I have a great amount of experience working in this area, in the finance area, that I was actually more experienced in traditional finance area, and that kind of helped me to actually see what's missing from I would say like Muslims, or you say Muslim Ummah, what it's been missing when it comes to like finance. And we saw that as a great opportunity where we can actually teach what we know, what we learned actually from traditional finance. And alhamdulillah, we started a company called Musafa about a year and a half ago, and it's been a great journey. And we are actually in the process of, inshallah, building like a trading platform, an investment platform, but we want to make it a completely Sharia compliant way, inshallah. Okay. So if you guys don't mind, I can share my presentation, and that would be a lot easier for me to go through slides to explain, okay, why we are here and how we can help Muslims around the world to gain financial independence, inshallah. Okay, is it okay if I go ahead and share the slides?
Yes, please, Mr.
Okay, just give me a minute. Thank you. Okay, 1 second. Let me know if you can see my screen. It'll be a lot easier. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, please let me go and start. So we're going to talk about the importance of global halal investments, first of all, and how we can help right now at the current time with the stock screening platform. So as you mentioned, there are several stock screening criteria around the world, and we are here actually to help the bring and kind of order to stock screening process. What I mean by order, as you said, there's like everybody has seems like their own kind of like methodology, like different countries and different organizations, they come with a different methodology. And let me give you an example. I'd like to give this example a lot. As we know that Islamic finance is kind of like relatively new. Please, can you guys mute if you guys don't mind, if you're not talking, because there's a lot of distraction. Okay, please. Because a lot of people here, alhamdulillah, we have 129 people. So if you're not talking, if you could mute, that would be help everybody. Okay. Okay. So let me continue with the. There's a lot of background noise. Please mute if you're not talking. Thank you so much. Let me give an example about the a little bit about stock screening, what it means. As you guys, as I was saying, there's like several. Yeah, please mute. There's a lot of noise. It's hard to talk. Please, if you're not talking, please mute.
Nafsia tuh bisa di mute dulu ya, dan Ica juga. Terima kasih.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. So before I go on, I want to talk a little bit about the stock screening and how it helps actually currently to people to filter out stocks. And as you guys know, there's like several like multiples of them. As a brother here, like Fadila Muhammad Falah, right? As mentioned, there's one for Indonesian version, and there are. Can the moderator mute somebody, please? It's really distracting for me.
The process still begin.
Okay, well, somebody should be able to mute who's not talking. Whoever has the admin access can mute the other people.
Okay, it will do.
Aulia, can you please work with the moderator so they can mute if the people are not talking?
I'm texting them, or maybe the moderator can make me as a co-host so I can help unmute the audience, non-speaking audience.
Yes, please.
I have the host is here because I didn't get any response.
Okay, I think it seems quiet now, so we can continue. Thank you so much for your cooperation. It's just a little bit distracting when a lot of people, a lot of noise. So thank you so much. So let me talk about a little bit about screening before we move on. And as you guys were saying that there's a lot of like screening methodology when it comes to like screening stocks. And we decided to actually implement AOFI methodology, which stands for Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Institutions. And this is actually a lot of Islamic institutions are actually adopting that methodology to bring a standard around the world. Okay, and I'll give you a really good example a little bit later. So let's move on. So we're going to talk about today the importance of global halal investments and stock screening platform and how we are helping. Before actually jumping into like stock screening or anything about the capital markets, let's actually talk about why we need that. Why do we need stock market, or why do we need investments at all, right? So it all derives from the basic human need for actually try to live a better life, right? So it all comes about being a financially independent and spending more time with your family. So so Muslims need to be financially independent. By that, what we mean, in general, everybody is trying to get financial independence so they can actually do what they want in life and spend some time actually to their hobbies maybe, or spend time with the family, or do something they love to do. To do that, of course, people need money, and they also need to actually make that money from different ways. So give you a little bit example. Here we prepared. So there are different ways to make money, right? So one of them is actually opening a business, but it has its own challenges, as you guys know. So one of the challenges would be like, well, first of all, you need to have a commitment, and second of all, you need to have business acumen or business knowledge. And as you guys know, a lot of startups, about 90 to 95% of startups, they fail because of different reasons. So it has its own challenges. So not everybody can just start and opening a business. So, but that's one of the ways you can become financially independent. There's a lot of successful people who has done that. The other was like getting a job, right? Okay, of course, like everybody can get a job. They can work like 9 to 5. They can work 5-6 days a week. Nothing wrong with it. But again, why people actually trying to invest money in the stock market, or it could be in real estate, because they want to spend more time with their quality time, maybe with the friends and family. is again, try to be financially independent. So getting a job is one way to do that, but again, we try to find the easier way. And another way, we can give an example: investing your savings. So this is the one, actually people get a job and they make money and they put the a little bit saving on the side, and they say, how can I invest this money to make this money more money so I can accomplish my goal a lot faster and sooner? So there are different methods to do that. So let's move on. So again, why do we need to invest? There's several reasons why we want to invest. First of all, I think everybody has a common goal of having a higher standard of living. Again, it's very, very natural human need. Try to live a better life, right? And the other one could be like growing your wealth. If you're saving money, you want to grow your wealth. Maybe you have something bigger goals in the future. Maybe save up some money, maybe, and then later you can give it to charity, or it could be something you can grow your wealth so you can help the people in need. Or the other one could be better education, right? So why do you want to invest? So you can have a, like, parents can invest their money so they can have a better, like their children can have a better education, so they can pay for their tuition and living expenses and forth. Or some people, especially in the United States, there's really good programs and like called 401k retirement, for example, and they want to retire with a peace of mind. And if you keep investing while you're young, by the time you're getting a little bit older, you're gonna have enough money in your bank account so you can retire like peacefully. Or some people want to invest because of the inflation, and we know that some countries, they have real fear of inflation, and by investing, actually you can catch up with inflation, or actually you can make more money than you can lose from inflation. So there's different reasons people want to invest. Actually, I'm trying to come up a little bit from the further to explain why you need the stock market, because by experience, we know a lot of people ask like, well, I can do this, I can do that. Why do I need the stock market, right? So that's why we're trying to bring it, like how you can bring like capital markets into your life and actually make your money work for you, but in a halal manner. Okay. Okay. So again, how to invest your savings? Again, there are like pros and cons, or advantage or disadvantage investing your savings. So one is like investing in real estate. Well, some people say, well, I don't want to invest in the stock market, it's too risky, I'm gonna just invest in a real estate. And that's one way to go. It has its own advantages. Real estate is something you can hold in your hands, and maybe you have a control over it somehow. So you know where to buy it, you know, you can actually remodel it and you can rent it out. That real estate is a good way to go, but one of the disadvantages of owning a real estate is like it's not liquid. What do we mean by liquid? You cannot sell it anytime you need the money right away. It's kind of hard unless you sell for cheap. Anytime you need, for example, I wake up in the morning, I need the money for something, I cannot just go ahead and sell it right now, like in 2 minutes. So it has its own like disadvantages. Or again, we talk about owning a business. Well, it has advantages, but what kind of disadvantage it has? It's going to take a lot of your time, and it requires a lot of commitment. So it's not easy thing to do, but that's one way you can actually invest your savings. And the third one, that's where we're going to concentrate. It's about investing in capital markets. And there are a lot of options still, but not as many options if you're just investing as a non-Muslim, right? So we know that you know, people actually in traditional, like in finance, they can invest in almost anything that makes money for them. And that's not the case for Muslims. And that's why we are here to help and guide. So investing capital markets can be in different forms. For example, right now, they call it Islamic bonds sometimes, a little bit different. They call it sukuk, right? And it's actually they start issuing a lot more. We see more of these days, but still like very minute proportion when you compare to like bond market. And of course we have stocks and mutual funds, etc., where Muslims are allowed to invest. So let's go to next slide. Of course, like what I would like to do, I want to go over slides first, and then inshallah we're gonna have a lot of Q&A section where we can asking and answer different kind of questions. But before that, it would be a little bit more structured if you go through the slides, and so that we have a really good like pattern. So, opportunity of investing in capital markets. What does again? I really want to give this concept. A lot of people actually ask this kind of questions, so we just kind of prepare the answers beforehand based on experience. So, what does owning a stock means, or owning a piece of stock, or piece of, used to be certificate back then. Of course, everything is digital right now. What does owning a stock mean? A lot of people don't understand that, and I have actually a lot of people ask, how do you play stock market? And that's my first reaction, that you don't play it. It's not a game. Stock market is something, or stocks gives you the right, or it's a piece of ownership from the company you invest. Even if you, for example, think about this way: if you buy one share of Apple, so what just happened, right? So of course, Apple is a gigantic company. Like last time I checked, it's a $2.75 trillion, just one company. It's like mind-boggling how big it is. But even if you buy one share for $170 right now, it means you have a claim or ownership to the company, even though it's a very minute. And every time company makes money, if the company decide to give out dividends or share the profits of the company, they can give you dividends. That's called dividend, right? Profit that the company makes, that decides to distribute to owners or shareholders. So owning a stock means owning a piece of business. And the nice thing about the stocks, if you buy more than one stock, or we call exchange trade funds later on, ETFs, it means you're gonna own piece of businesses, potentially from different markets and from different industries. So that's why actually investing in stock market is so appealing, especially from our experience. A lot of, in Indonesia right now, a lot of people actually, alhamdulillah, they're getting to know what the stock market is, and most of them they want to invest in US companies. So it says, I want to invest in Tesla, or I want to invest in this company, right? So when they do that, actually they're getting a much more exposure and gaining a knowledge about stock markets. So what are the other benefits? Accessing to global markets with different risk and return profiles. What do we mean by that? So I wanna throw in a little bit more, I would say a little bit more engagement right now, so that I don't keep talking by myself. So I have a question. Let's ask people, why do they wanna invest, for example, from Indonesia, they want to invest in Canada or US. So what's the main reason? Let's hear some answers, if you guys don't mind, so we can give this webinar much more engaging, not one-sided, you know, have a conversation style. So I would want to know, like, why people, especially overseas, they want to invest in the United States or Canada. Let's get some answers, Aulia. Let's get some answers.
Yeah, I will put the question in the chat box so people can know the question.
Yep, let's get some answers on the chat box. So why people around the world, they want to invest in US or Canada or UK? What's the main reason? Anybody on the chat? Okay, thank you. Yes, we'll share the link, inshallah. Aulia is going to share with you. Okay, thank you, Aulia. Why people around the world want to invest in US or Canada market? Let's get to know the reason. Well,
I got one question, one answer here.
US market has the highest increased percentage in the world. Well, that could be one reason, but what's the main reason you guys think it is? Because we see a lot of people in Indonesia, Malaysia, they want to invest in like in US market, and we want to know what's the main reason, right? Nobody? Let's get some answers. We have 136 people here, so let's make it more engaging, right? No one? Because the place is the center. Okay. So that's why you guys invest, because the US is the center. What's the main reason people invest in US or Canada? Okay. Center for global trade. Okay. Is it the main reason? Is that the main reason people invest in US? What's the most, if you have to like sort, or if you have to list the reasons? Because they had wide range of funding source. Okay. It's coming closer. Okay, I see higher growth. New York Stock Exchange and Nasdaq has a higher growth. In terms of what? But this is one interesting. Okay, we are almost there. Actually, the answer is on the screen. Access to global markets with different risk and return profiles. That's the main reason we believe that people want to invest in the more like developed countries. Different risk and return profiles. What do we mean by that? Okay, let me I want to ask how to get more profit in another country outside Indonesia. We'll get there, inshallah, very soon. Okay. Okay, so what do we mean by different risk and return profiles? Like a lot of people want to invest in the more developed countries because of stability, because of the growth is more stable. It doesn't mean there's going to be a lot of profit, but there's still going to be profit, but it's going to be more stable. So, but if you really want to invest, personally, I like to invest in like emerging markets like Brazil or Russia. It has a little bit more risk, but more return usually. So in US and developed countries, they tend to have a good stable growth, and people like that. Most people, they want to make a stable income or much more stable growth, but doesn't necessarily mean high growth, because US companies in general or Canadian, UK companies, they don't have a very high growth, but a lot more stable growth. And that's why like people like, okay, I want to make money. If I invest in US market, more likely I'm going to make stable money. So I have a better peace of mind. So I don't have to worry about that volatility too much. The stocks going up and down too much, because of the why? Because the country and the economy is much more stable. And this is called like different risk and return profiles. Some people in the US, for example, a lot of investors, big investors in the US, they don't want to invest in the United States. They want to invest in China or Indonesia. Why? Because their return profile is different. They want to take more risk and make more money. Okay. Okay, it was interesting. Let's move on. Of course, we have one question we can answer about how they can make more profit in outside the country. We'll come to that in a minute. Okay, so But again, there are challenges of investing in capital markets. There are several challenges, right? So let's start by talking about three of them right here. So people like from Indonesia, Malaysia, or around the Muslim nations around the world, they want to invest, but number one challenge that they have limited access to global markets. So the problem, like if they might have the money, but if I want to invest not just in the United States or Canada, what if I want to invest in Brazil, or what if I want to invest in Europe or any other country, or Australia, right, or Japan? So the problem is like a lot of Muslim countries, they have this kind of limited access to these global markets. They cannot just go buy a stock, but that's not the case in the United States. United States market is much more developed right now. Sitting in the US, like alhamdulillah, we can invest anywhere in the world because of the system in place. I can buy stocks. Of course, like there are some rules and regulations, but a lot of stocks, for example, if you want to invest, for example, one of the companies called Alibaba, of course, we can talk about Sharia compliance later, but you can buy ADR from US. It's called American Deposit Receipt, which means that foreign companies they sell shares in the United States going through through banks. It's called American Deposit Receipt, and they can be traded on the stock as a stock exchange as a regular stock. So there's so many like different companies they can come in US and they list it, so they have access to US investors. So that's something is missing from a lot of countries. Alhamdulillah, we have this goal, and they'll help actually to facilitate that process by building this, inshallah, trading platform or investing platform for Muslims around the world. Second challenge, let's say even if you have access to global markets somehow, the second challenge would be, as a Muslim, we cannot just invest anything we want. If the company like makes alcohol or they make weapons for defense or something like that, so there are different like restrictions, which means we cannot invest in this company. So I have to be very careful what we invest as Muslims, right? Because of our values and our faith, we are limited again to certain investments. So we cannot just go invest in anything else because the investment might not be halal. So that's another challenge. The third one is the real challenge. So lack of trusted halal investment platforms. Okay, even if you decide to invest in a halal stock, you find out, okay, this stock is halal, I want to invest in it, but how are you going to invest in it? Again, even if you have the platforms, they're not Sharia compliant, because the platform itself makes money from money. Usually they engage in margin lending. A lot of retail investors, regular people, they don't know, but this platform is actually built on riba, most of them. So again, lack of trust halal investment platform, that's an issue too. Alhamdulillah, that's why we are here to actually provide that, inshallah. Right now we are going to talk about the stock screeners, and then later on, inshallah, we will build the trading and investment platform for inshallah Indonesia and Malaysia, starting from that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Again, these are some challenges. Limit access to global markets. So what are the reasons? This is a big challenge, and we hear that a lot from actually people around the world. How can I invest in this one? How can I do that? From where I can invest? What platform I can use? So, but as we know, there's some policies and regulations from the government. Some countries limit local investors' access to global investment opportunities. So they say, well, because of this, maybe sometimes there's something called protectionism, and they give more power to monopolies inside, and they don't want people to invest outside because they want to keep all the money inside. And unfortunately, that's not a good policy, we think. And that's how, unless you have you don't somehow embrace like going global. So you're going to be stuck with what you have, and then it's going to hinder actual growth, and it's not going to help the regular people. So again, there are some policy regulations from the governments, and alhamdulillah and inshallah, we will work with the local governments to eliminate these investment obstacles. So what do we mean by that? Our goal is to go and work with the government, saying that, okay, these are rules and regulations, and if you guys change, and the people can have more access to global markets, so they can invest around the world, not just limited to local companies, right? And we see that we actually analyze the Indonesian, Malaysian companies, and interestingly, portion of Sharia compliant stocks is actually the number. It's lower than compared to US and Canadian stocks, which is very interesting. So if people want to invest outside the country, they're going to face more issues. But we see that the investments picking up inside the country, so that's also good news. So these are interesting numbers we would like to talk. Of course, please feel free to ask. I'm actually, I have a chat open right here, and we want to keep this engagement a lot more interesting. So if you guys please ask questions on the chat, and I'm actually reading it, so so we can make this much more engaging, right? Instead of one person talking, we can make it like more conversational style. Okay. So let's talk about these global asset classes, which is very interesting, and we find it. So of course, it might be changed a little bit, but from the latest report, we see that that's what's happening around the world right now. Stock market, stocks in general, the valuation is around $116 trillion. So that's not billion, that's trillion, right? $116 trillion. And bond market is around $119 trillion. And as you guys know, bonds are not permitted in Islam because of riba. What the bond is like, it's a loan given to somebody under the condition they get fixed income, which is called riba. So that's not allowed. And derivative market is so huge, especially in traditional like finance, 1,200 trillion or 1.2 quadrillion. That's like amazingly big number in US dollars. So as you guys can see, 1.435 quadrillion. That's the amount of the global asset class right now. And even the real estate is not included here. We just want to keep it very short. So mainly these are liquid assets, which means it can be sold right away. So you don't have to wait. You're not gonna have a hard time to find a buyer. So stocks and bonds and derivatives, if we consider these three different asset classes as three existing, just to keep it like simple, only 8%, 8% stocks. That's what Muslims have access to. As being Muslims, they cannot invest in bonds and derivatives. And bonds are explicitly forbidden because of riba, and derivatives are, they have some uses, they say, but mostly it's not Sharia compliant because it's not asset-based, most of them. It's just made up transactions, especially like different kind of interest rate swap. It could be, or futures and forwards is something that that are not actually asset based, basically, because they will talk about something they negotiate actually buy or sell something that didn't even happen, that's going to happen in the future. That's what they call future and forwards and options. And so anyway, only 8%, if you really think about it. But again, you're going to be like, oh, 8%, I think I can deal with that. Hold on. No, not yet. No, you cannot invest in any stock you want. So based on our own experience, like actually analyzing thousands of companies, we can tell you that about, on average, about 30% to 35% companies can be Sharia compliant. So what does it mean? It means, if you look at it, lack of knowledge about halal investment options. So stocks Sharia compliance is about 30-35% in general. Of course, it depends on the market. We see Singapore has very low Sharia compliant companies. US has a more moderate. Indonesia and Malaysia is about 30%, 28% to 30%. Like US is about 35 to 40%. So it changes based on the country because of the different factors that are considered in determining Sharia compliant. And we will talk about a little bit later about AOFI. I know I brought it up at the beginning, but inshallah, right after this meeting, we'll talk about that. So as you guys can see, 30-35% of stocks. Remember, when we said in here, about 8% like asset class are stocks, as you guys can see, which means 30-35% of 8%, that's going to be around 3% of global asset classes. Okay, so total investable market for Muslims around 3% of global asset classes. As you guys can see, we are, as Muslims, we are very limited, but still there are thousands of companies we can invest successfully. Alhamdulillah, there are over like 100,000 companies. Even like 30% makes it around 30,000 companies we can invest around the world. Still, we have really good options, but if you don't know, if the stocks are not screened for Sharia compliance, then you know investing in these companies can be a little bit against our principles and our faith. So this is an interesting finding, I think, and a lot of people find it very interesting. So now the question comes, how do we screen this? And at Musafa, that's why we have actually very qualified full-time analysts. They go through reports, financial reports, they go through annual reports, quarter reports, presentations, websites, everything they can go through to determine if the company is Sharia compliant or not. And of course, we also have very, very prominent Sharia advisors from UK and from Malaysia. And they also help us, guide us actually to determine if we have something very questionable companies. Okay, are they Sharia compliant or not? So I'll show you in a minute what goes in determining if the company is Sharia compliant. That's why we build the world's most accurate and comprehensive, I would say that confidently, world's most comprehensive and accurate Sharia stock and ETF screener, alhamdulillah. Okay, so these are some of the things that actually some of the business activities are actually forbidden or not allowed at Musafa or around the world, and most scholars agree, Islamic scholars agree on that term. For example, gambling is explicitly prohibited, alcohol business or pork-related business, tobacco, marijuana, adult entertainment, cloning, firearms and defense is a big no-no. So we really look out when we screen companies, and institutions that deal with interest. So any kind of financial company that deals with interest, almost not allowed to, we're not allowed to invest. And of course, the excess debt is another one. These are some of them, not all of them, but most of them. For example, advertisement or I would say advertisement or some kind of digital media, or those things are questionable. So we have to dig further to find out if they're Sharia compliant. But these are the ones that explicit. Okay, we were getting some kind of questions, which very interesting. Let me read one question. I'm a beginning investor in Indonesian halal stock and have been 6 months being an investor, mashallah. Unfortunately, stock of the company that I invest keeping down and getting a loss. So in your opinion, what should I do? Should I keep my investment or not? Okay, actually, Aulia, can you note it down? Because we're gonna do some demo on the platform and we can show them that halal company doesn't mean a good investment. So we'll get to that, okay? So when you filter stocks, of course, you want to look at Sharia compliance, and then you're going to look at the financials. Okay, so there are two different things. As Muslims, we are forced to do both of them. As non-Muslim, they don't care if it's halal or halal or not halal. They can just look at the financial statements and determine about the stock being a good stock or not. The company is a good company. But in our case, we kind of have to double our efforts as Muslims, because first we need to find if it's a halal or not, and then we decide if the company is good or not. Halal doesn't mean it's a good investment. Let's not confuse that. Halal means it's just one of the criteria you have to go through before you decide to invest on the company or not, okay? We'll get to that when we do a demo on the platform shortly. Thank you. So these are some of the conditions about the AOFI. So we know that a lot of people ask, okay, what about the Indonesia? Maybe they have their own screening methodology, and Malaysia, we know that they have their own. So everybody's trying to come up with their own methodology. And let me tell you what's wrong with it. So the problem with it, everybody's trying to make their own rules, and it's going to confuse investors around the world, Muslim investors. So they don't know which methodology they should follow. And AFI came up. Why? They came up with the intention to kind of like bring an order to like investment, especially stock screening around the world, bring an order. And it's much more, actually, AFI is much more stringent. They're a little bit conservative side compared to like the ones in Malaysia, Indonesia, all around the world. So I'd like to give this example a lot because I see a lot of resemblance. So in the United States, about 1800 or around that, maybe 200 years ago, and a lot of banks in the United States, they issued their own currency. Think about this way. For example, Wells Fargo, let's say they had their own currency. A lot of banks, when they start their own currency, what happens? Transactions are going to become very, very tough to make. If not everybody has the same currency, what would happen? In US, for example, every state, they have their own currency. And banks, they have their own money. What would happen? It would be very hard to do transaction. Right now, there's one currency in US. Let's say we know that it's US dollars. So transaction is so much easier because one currency makes everything is easier. Instead of think about that, if I had to make a payment or receive a payment from a friend, but he had a different currency because he worked, he banked in different bank, and I wouldn't accept his money. I would say, well, you know, I need a currency so my bank can take. So I think that's what's happening around the world right now, but it's very natural for it to happen because it's under development. So right now, as again, you were saying, I know that the presenter was saying there's like screening methodology, like Indonesia has one, Malaysia. I know that different countries, they have different versions. They have Dow Jones version, they got S&P version, they got FTSE version. We know that, but we are sticking to AFI because we are helping to bring an order. So people don't confuse. It's a lot easier to compare companies if you are going through one methodology versus like different. What do we mean by that? For example, if you look at the revenue ratio, AFI has a little bit more conservative side. That's why we choose AFI too. And they say impermissible revenue has to be less than 5% of total revenue to be Sharia compliant. Okay, so let's say one company, a very good company, that's why we look at the core operations of the company. So the company core operations, making clothes or making shoes, that's Sharia compliant, that's completely okay. But somehow if they engage in haram activity, maybe they have some cash, they invest at the bank, and they make interest income from it. So in that case, we can say, okay, still investable, but again, that the income comes from not halal sources like interest income. We cannot keep it, of course. We need to actually give a sadaqah, which is called like purification process. So there's some kind of like rules in place to make sure that the money you make is actually Sharia compliant. Okay. 1 second. Okay. And anyway, I want to bring up this AFI stock screening methodology. We have revenue ratio, we have interest ratio, we have debt ratio. So if we look at the a little bit different parts. So we have operational screening, and then we have something called financial screening. So we were going to look at how much debt the company has. If it has too much debt, are they paying interest on the debt? Or how much cash they have, or securities they have. Are they bearing interest? Are they making interest from those deposits? If that's the case, how much of it? So there are rules about 30%. It has to be like, let's say, interest-bearing securities asset has to be less than 30% of actually market capitalization, right? So there are specific rules, and which is going to be very hard for common investors to determine by themselves without the good financial knowledge. That's why we are here to help. We start with the again, inshallah, world most comprehensive and we can say accurate, because we couldn't find any more accurate actually stock screen than we're doing right now. And alhamdulillah, as I said, we have several like rooms of financial analysts. Actually, they've gone through thousands of companies actually to determine if they're Sharia compliant or not. So this is the one thing I want to bring up. And this is one thing I want to explain how the process works at Mustafa, right? So we have a lot of stock coming out: Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla, Procter & Gamble here. We have ExxonMobil, we have Alibaba. So it goes through a filter, we could say. So again, it goes through like business activity filter. It goes through like financial screening. And then, of course, on the other side, from Sharia advisors, we get help because based on the Quran, Sunnah, Ijma, Qiyas, Ijtihad, we find out actually if the stock is compliant or not. Of course, it goes to three different buckets. So it could either be halal or not halal, or we could say Sharia compliant or not, or we have something called in the middle, avoid. Sometimes some companies, we cannot, as much as research we do, we cannot determine 100% if the company is Sharia compliant because of the information. There is not enough information. In that case, we are kind of forced to put this under like orange, which means avoid. We're not 100% sure because there's not enough financial information to determine if the company is Sharia compliant or not. So we just put in avoid because as we know as Muslims, we should stay away if we're suspicious of something, right? But again, in a bigger scale, that's why we are here. A lot of people, they want to stay away from stock market because I say, I don't understand. Okay, well, if they don't understand, they think it's suspicious altogether. And then we are here to help this. That's not the case. You know, we can still invest in as Muslims, but we gotta be very careful. You know, we gotta make sure that every single investment we make is Sharia compliant. If not, then actually, let's find out some other professionals who can help us. And that's why we are here, to help the people. They don't have to go through a really hard time of determining which stocks are compliant or not, okay? That's why we are here to help. So, Mustafa, we built Halal Stock and ETF Screener. It's our actually first step to open more opportunities in global stock markets. And as you guys can see, alhamdulillah, we have an app, phone app. It's coming out right now, but we have a mobile version of actually Android and iOS is about to come out, but we have a functioning website. I'll show you in a minute, and then we can take answers and questions. Our goal is to build a Sharia compliant trading platform that will enable Muslims to invest in global stock markets. So inshallah, we're building this platform where people can sign up, inshallah, and they can, right now they can use it as a screener, but inshallah later on, they can trade in one place. They can do research in one place, and they can look up the Sharia compliance score in one place and do the investments in one place. That's our goal. Of course, we didn't talk about our academy yet, but we have actually full functioning musaffa.academy.com, where we have hundreds of articles related to Islamic finance, and our expert actually Islamic finance specialists, they write those articles, and you guys can read it and learn more about it. And that's something we can bring to more education to Islamic world, because we want to support, we want to teach and learn from actually Muslim community. So this is our trading. Instead of showing this one, I really want to show you how the trading platform works. So if you guys give me a minute, and then we can take some questions, inshallah, and keep it more engaging. So let me go ahead and keep sharing it with you. This is our trading platform, and right now, as a freemium user, you guys can use it, and you can search. Actually, we put the limit to 1 stock per day. You can search for free. Feel free to sign up and look up 1 stock per day right now for free, or you can sign up for premium features. So let me go ahead and share with you guys. So at Musaffa, this is our website, musaffa.com. As you guys can see, alhamdulillah, we got over 4,500 people already signed up on the platform, and over 100 countries. That's very exciting for us. Actually, it was 99, and then we got somebody joined from 100th country. So people around from 100 different countries around the world, and about 4,500 people, they're using the platform right now. And alhamdulillah, we have a highly positive feedback. So let me go ahead and log in. Of course, I have a membership, so I can log in. As you guys can see, we are doing it Muslim for Muslims. We start with the Assalamu alaikum. So this is my email. Let's say I already have a sign up, so I'm gonna do a little demo. Okay, this is the platform. This is how it works. So right now we are covering United States, Malaysia, Indonesia, United Kingdom, Canada, and Singapore. So as you guys can see, these are most popular halal stocks on the front page. For if you go Indonesia, you guys are gonna see these stocks are Sharia compliant. And interesting part is this. So let's say I want to find about this company right here. And we also sort these companies based on their Sharia compliance level. This is something that we have never seen anybody do that. So we actually decide to do that, and it's very useful. So if you decide, a lot of places they say it's a Sharia compliant or not Sharia compliant, or halal or not halal, but they don't tell you how halal it is. And that's why we actually decide to come up with our model and our own, based on our own formulas. So we decide to give 1 to 5. So if company is halal, you still want to know how halal. 5 being the most halal, 1 is being the least halal. It's still halal, but it's very close to not being halal. So some people can say, okay, I want to invest in a 4 and 5 because I want to make sure that the company is much more halal, which means they don't engage in much more, they don't have a lot of debt, interest bearing, they don't make a lot of money from interest income. Maybe the revenue source is a lot more cleaner. So if you want to stay on the more conservative side, you can still invest through platform where we get 4 and 5 scores. Okay, so that's one thing. And I want to bring another thing. For example, let me go Apple here, and I want to show you guys. No, let me go Tesla since it's Sharia compliant. For some reason, it's not now. Let me. Maybe it's still under development. Just 1 second. Let me go about Coke, for example. Coca-Cola. Let's see. Let's go to markets. Let's say United States has, for example, NVIDIA. Okay, so this company called NVIDIA is very popular in the United States. As you guys can see, stock price $250, and it's a Sharia compliant company. So we had somebody ask today on the chat. Let me take a look right now. How much is the minimum deposit? And okay, I have some questions I'd like to answer before we move on. So first question I was asked, people were asking, if it's a halal company, it's losing money, should I invest or not? Again, here's what we want to bring in. Halal company doesn't mean it's a good company to invest. It means their operations are halal, right? Their operations are halal, but doesn't matter. It doesn't mean it's a good company to invest. So as I was saying, as Muslims, we have double our efforts. First, we need to find the Sharia company, Sharia compliant. Then we need to do research if the company's operations are profitable. Again, so operations are Sharia compliant. That's our first filter. Is operations are Sharia compliant. Second, operations are profitable. They are different things, not the same thing. So you gotta be very careful. So first you need to find that stocks are Sharia compliant, and then you need to find out if they are profitable. It has to be both. Okay, if the company is Sharia compliant but it's losing money, maybe it's not a good business. We don't know, right? So you have to do more research. As you guys can see on our platform, you can see if the company is Sharia compliant. And the next thing you need to look at the recommendations or do more research. This company, NVIDIA, 46 analysts covered this company. On average, it got almost 3.95, which is 4. On average, it has a buy recommendation, right? It has like strong buy. 22% of analysts, they say it's a strong buy. Of course, there's some analysts, 2% is sell, and 20% is a hold. 56% they say buy. On average, it has a buy rating. But of course, you don't need to just look at it. You need to go and do some research, okay? And that's another level of actually investing steps that you need to take. So this is the first question. Again, halal or Sharia compliant does not mean it's a good company. You have to do more research, okay? Operations are Sharia compliant, but are they profitable? That's a different story. Okay, let's answer the second question. Okay, this year's stock market challenged with high inflation. Okay, like USA, Britain has peaks with inflation highs for 3 decades. We agree with the coronavirus and everything. United States print out like to make sure that the economy doesn't stop and it doesn't slow down. They print out about $2 trillion of US currency. Of course, it helped the economy actually not stop, keep going forward, but the cost is high inflation. Okay, and to keep countries' financial stability, they increased the interest rate, and that made the big turbulence in capital flow. A lot of investors turn their capital to government bonds. We know if government bonds is riba, I agree, but my question, how Islamic solution to solve inflation efficiently and proportionally? Okay, good question, very good question. So how can we as Muslims we protect against inflation? And of course the governments they have something called government bonds, which is called like risk-free, right? You can just buy it and then they can pay you. But on the other side, about the stocks, we need to understand something, what the stock means again. Stocks have built-in inflation protection in it. Of course, it won't happen in one day, but if you're a long-term investor, you should be fine. For example, let me give you one example. If you buy a share from Procter & Gamble, for example, or Colgate, whatever, they make a toothpaste. So you buy it, of course, you want to look at if it's Sharia compliant or not. You buy it, but companies, they have a pricing power depending on what kind of product they make. For example, if you buy a toothpaste, Colgate, so do you mind if the inflation goes up, if they increase their prices for 5% or 10%, are you gonna stop brushing your teeth? Most likely not, because it's important. So pricing power, companies, they do have pricing power, and they usually go with inflation. If there's inflation, they can just increase the price. Okay, so this is kind of like, if they increase the price, they make more money. They make more money, they pay more to you as dividends, more money. So somehow you are protected. Of course, it won't happen in one day, but if you're gonna long-term investor, you buy a stock, you keep it for 2-3 years, inflation is gonna be built in it. It won't be as direct as the US government bonds, which can increase, and they're gonna write it down exactly how much they're gonna pay you. But even the stocks are inflation protected in the long run. So that's a very good part of it. And I think that's the answer I can give you, that stocks still being Sharia compliant can be inflation protected. Not all of them, but you have to be a little bit look at the about elasticity, right? That's what we say. And what companies can increase their prices without losing customers? Okay, so we know that. I gave you Procter & Gamble, for example. That's one company can do that, right? Or there's so many companies actually, they have like they have a pricing power they can increase. And of course, there's some other alternative to bonds they call scoop, and that's also like start developing. But instead of taking a exactly determined percentage, of course, when you buy it, it's going to be invested and you're going to be somehow a partner to profit. That's another alternative that we have as Muslims. So as long as it's not riba, okay? So let's go to the next question. I'm glad people asking a lot of questions, very interesting. Alhamdulillah. Okay, how much minimum deposit? Right now, we didn't launch our trading platform yet, but inshallah, when we do, we want to keep it to the minimum. Don't know exactly how much we're going to do that right now, but the goal is to offer fractional shares. Because, for example, if you want to buy a share from, let's say, from Tesla, one share is over $1,000 right now, US dollars, and not a lot of investors can buy that. So we can offer a fraction of that, for example, 1/1000th of the share for $1, right? That's becoming a lot more popular, fractional shares, so that people can invest, even though not one stock, maybe they can invest 1% of the stock, inshallah, and they can still invest in the company. Okay, if you have a specific question about which company is Sharia compliant or not, you can actually reach out to us from easily from us. I would say that support, or in this case, you can use info@musaffa.com and ask specific question why we decide to determine that some company halal or not, and we can give you explanation for that. Sometimes, again, just because the company engaged in something not Sharia compliant does not automatically say it's not Sharia compliant. There are rules and regulations in place. And in this case, I mean rules, sorry. So we're gonna look at the screening methodology and determine if that company is like, even if they engage in something like not halal, we're gonna look at the percentage of that. And if it still like falls under that, again, under the condition that the not halal source of your income should be given out sadaqah and purification process, under that condition only we can say Sharia compliant is or not. So it's specific for a company, but if you have a question about specific company, please reach out to us through email at info@musaffa.com, and we'll give you exact reason why we decided to determine some company is a Sharia compliant or not. Again, Musaffa right now, we have screening services. If you sign up for like let's say professional, actually would be super affordable compared to nothing, because as you guys know, we are more developing to build our trading platform. We have to charge a minimum fee, but again, you can sign up for now. You can look for one stock per day for free, and it's going to be, inshallah, forever. It's going to be like that. We don't want to keep charging, but it's completely free. You sign up for it, and you can look one stock per day. That's like you can easily search like 30 stocks per month, right? So that's a good quite a limit that you can use. And right now, it's the membership is paid through US dollars, but of course, inshallah, we are implementing local currencies. Okay, so this is actually the presentation, and let me show you a couple really cool things about this platform. So Nvidia is a big corporation in US, and you guys, of course, you can look at the company like information, what that Nvidia does, and we can also look at the market cap. This is like a $673 billion business, so it's a big company. And of course, the related stock is a very interesting part. So in here, related stocks, you can look, okay, which company is actually related stocks. So for example, for this company called Nvidia Corporation, we have Micron, Analog, Qualcomm. So these are all like, it's kind of, you could say, competitors or something similar companies. And by looking at the Qualcomm, we know it's not Sharia compliant because it's in red, but everything else is green, which is like these companies are all Sharia compliant. Intel, Broadcom, big companies. If you see something gray, we are actually doing analysis right now. So it's gonna come up as under coming soon, which means we are actually analyzing right now. We should have the results shortly. But everything else, as you guys can see, it's actually being already analyzed. And you can also, let's say this company, I'm going to look for analog devices, and I'm going to say, well, maybe I'm going to buy this company later. So I can add to my watch list. So for example, I can add to Indonesia watch list and save changes, and it's already added. So I go watch list, I look at Indonesia, I have 5 stocks, and then as you guys can see, I have under my watch list, I have different companies, and each one has a different symbol, and they have halal scores, which means like 4, 3, 5, not halal, and this one's coming soon with the prices, with the change in price, and then change in percentages, or you can delete. So we have a watch list we have right now, and then we have actually several watch lists we can create and keep watching this. And if it's in a watch list, if there's a status change, you're gonna get an email notification the way you signed up. And of course, these are the recently viewed stocks, which are Sharia compliant or not. So that's how we started, but alhamdulillah, we cover over 7,000 companies right now, and we are covering more and more markets. For example, United States, we cover like all large cap, mid cap, and small cap. Malaysia, Indonesia, we cover everything, alhamdulillah. And then Singapore, we cover almost everything. So we cover 6 countries for now. Okay. So these are actually a presentation that we have, but let's take some question answers, and we'll love to answer questions if we can in any other way.
Okay, for the participants who wants to ask, maybe you can raise hand or just type in chat box, or maybe if you want to ask directly, you can turn on your mic and also turn on your camera.
Okay.
Can I ask Mr. Dilshad as moderator?
Sure.
I'm interesting still with how we deal with another currencies in Musafa. As we know that Musafa take global listing company, so we found different currency there. So how can we convert our currency to another? Is that by the program or how?
Trying to understand your question about the currency. So I'm trying to understand the question. I didn't quite get it. Can you repeat that about the currency? Because I didn't quite get the question, please.
Yes, we found that many companies listed in Musafa, they have various currencies there. So when we first put the deposit in Musafa, what currencies that we used and how we can trade with another currencies in the stock in Musafa?
A very good question, but we don't have the feature. Inshallah, we'll have it soon. Right now, it's going to be local currencies, right? We'll make it easy as possible to people. For example, in Indonesia, they have their own currency. They can use it. Of course, we're going to have a exchange based on the current exchange rate. It can be exchanged when you buy any kind of stuff, inshallah, any kind of stock from our platform. So it's going to be local currency for everybody. Let's say for people, inshallah, when we build our, from Malaysia, it's going to have its own currency. So it's going to make it a lot easier for people instead of just saying everything should be in US dollars, right? So it's going to be automatically built in the system, in the platform. So you don't need to worry about the currency exchange. We're going to take the currency like rate from the current exchange rate, and we just apply that and then charge Indonesian currency for everybody, right? Or Malaysian currency. So it's going to be very flexible, inshallah. We are here to make every single step as easy as we can make. Inshallah.
Thank you for the answers. Maybe
No
another
problem.
participants?
I have a question.
Yes,
Sure.
Nabil,
Yes.
introduce
I have a
yourself
question, sir.
and where you come from.
My name is Nabil Yunus. I come from Malang City. In my graduate degree, I in UMM, but now I in Brawijaya University. My question is, why Musafa did not include the carbon rate? You know, maybe some companies, they have a lot of pollution and they broke the environment around their companies. In Islam, we know we have to keep our environment goodly and safely. And how Musafa make the carbon or pollution in the company as an indicator? It is my
Good question.
if my language is not good.
No, it's a very good reasonable question, especially in the United States. That's become a big concern. They call ESG, or environmental, social, and governance. That's also a very important part of actually investment, and it also by itself became a different like movement in the United States, especially. Again, we call it ESG, environmental, social, and governance issues, and that's something very important. But right now we are in the process of Musafa. Right now we are determining company Sharia compliant or not, but it's something, it's on the line. Now we are very good question, because something we inshallah we will start integrating also into the platform. But it's something because since we are a new company, we have priorities. So we start from A to Z, and inshallah it's on our list, and we'll get there soon. Again, very good question, and it's very important part of actual investment, environmental, social, and it's not just the only pollution. Think about this way: how the company treats its workers. Is there a child labor involved, right? What kind of practices actually the company is involved in? That also goes under. What about social? Is it like only like in the US, for example, they also look at the division of male and females, right? So is it like abusing some kind of like males or females? That's another thing. It's called social, right? Environmental is the pollution, and you have the other ones about the practice of the company. Ethical, is it ethical or not, right? Is the company, for example, they make money, it's very profitable from Sharia perspective, it could be Sharia compliant, but then when you look at its practices, you can find out the company may not be ethical company, making money from different ways, as long as it's past the filter, right? So these are things that inshallah our analysts gonna work on, and this is an important part of actually not just being a Sharia compliant, it's just a movement that's being developed around the world right now, and it's going to become a critical part of Musafa, inshallah. But that's something that we will integrate later on. Of course, it takes some time, but that's in the plan. But a very good question, Nabil.
Thank you, Mas Nafil. Is it correct? Is it clear about the answer?
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
I think Mustafa is very interesting product.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, let's keep it more engaging. We have some time, so.
Yeah, maybe another participants want to ask directly, because we still have about 15 minutes to go.
Sure. Yeah, let's take some questions. Please feel free to ask.
If you're still shy, maybe you can type in chat box.
Also, please feel free to sign up. It takes about maybe a minute. So if you go here, let me go ahead and share while you're here, and use the platform. You know, as I said, it's a free version, and you don't need to pay. If you want to pay, that's fine. But if you go musafa.com, so you just only need to like sign up. It's very easy, and you can enter your email, and then you click next. You're gonna get the code right away on your email. You enter the code. It takes 2 steps to sign up. Very easy to sign up. Sign up and use the platform easily, you know, and discover. You can still use the free version. You can look up at stocks, up to 30 stocks per month, and then use it freely. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, okay? So you can just enter your email, and then when you click on next, it's going to send the code, 4-digit code. You go to email, because we need to verify the email, make sure it's valid. And then once you enter, you're just going to enter like 3-4 information. You have full access to the platform. Okay, at musafa.com platform. Aulia also please help out if they need any kind of help, okay, to sign up. And please feel free to use the platform.
I put the link to our platform in the chat box. Maybe the participants, you can just click the link and you can start registering your new account in Musafa.
And as I was saying, we go very deep, like we do very thorough research in every single company. We have full-time analysts that are trained, and they go deep into financial statements, quarter reports, annual reports, like websites, presentations. And right now we are in the process of actually talking to companies, inshallah, if they have any kind of questions. Of course, like it's kind of harder to talk to bigger companies, but Indonesia, Malaysia, it's easier to get access to companies, ask specific questions. For example, some companies we call and we can ask, like on the website we look up everywhere, they don't have halal certificate. For example, the supermarket. So we have to reach out to them and says, do you guys, can you guys provide the halal certificate to us? For example, in Malaysia, there's Nestle, right? It's one of the very Sharia compliant companies, because they actually promoted like all halal certification in the industry in Malaysia. So we also look at the deep detail, but sometimes like we dig deeper, but we cannot determine if it's Sharia compliant or not. The company from financial side could be very Sharia compliant, but if we cannot determine if they have a halal certificate, and if it's in food industry, in that case, we usually leave it as a void. Unless we have further information, we cannot consciously say they're Sharia compliant if we cannot verify they have a halal certificate, for example. So we take this very seriously. Okay. Yeah, please sign up. Also, Academy is a very interesting academy that we have. Let me show you before the meeting ends. So if you look at we do have academy. Right now we are, inshallah, bringing Indonesian language, also English. This is a Mustafa Academy. As you guys can see, we have so many, like, alhamdulillah, different topics. We actually answer, we do research. We try to teach like Muslim Ummah about halal investments. So for example, is option contract haram to hedge desired stocks value, right? Or what should investors should know about earning calls, for example. So it says investment related. So of course you can search in here, say, for example, stock screener. So it's going to help like to do research. For halal stock screener apps, you should know, for example, right? So we have screener apps. So we have different, so you can read it more. For halal stock screener apps, you should know. So for example, so we have one called Finispa Islamically and Zoya. Of course, we have Musafa. So we compare them to what we have. That's what in the market and how we are different and what kind of technology we use, right? At Musafa. So you guys have a lot of information, and you can, of course, get start free and sign up. Or you can have a lot of, we have Halal Investment Series 101, where we teach actually what halal investment is and how we can accomplish to that, right? About this one, what investors should know about earnings call, for example, or is option contract halal or non-halal? So there's different topics, hundreds different topics. We have articles that you guys can go and read. Okay.
Mr. Fadil,
Yes.
maybe we can take the question with Indonesian language if our participants want to ask in Indonesian, so maybe we can help with the translation.
Ya, oke. Untuk peserta yang mungkin kesulitan dengan bahasa Inggris, silahkan bertanya dalam bahasa Indonesia. Nanti akan kami terjemahkan untuk dilanjutkan ke Mr. Dilshad.
Okay, no problem. Actually, it's been my honor to do this, be part of this webinar, alhamdulillah. Okay, any more questions we have?
Yeah, we are trying to take the questions in Bahasa Indonesia. Maybe some participants want to ask in Bahasa. We can translate it for you.
Okay, sure.
So, teman-teman yang punya pertanyaan, boleh silahkan bertanya. Mungkin nanti moderator boleh bantu translate untuk Mr. Dilshad. So, don't be shy ya, nggak masalah. Bisa pakai bahasa Indonesia kok, tenang aja.
Okay. Any more questions?
Nafil, maybe?
Nafil, yes, please.
Do you want to ask more questions? Still azan in here.
Mr. Dilshad, can we tell them that how can we give some kind of our service to the universities, maybe B2B, or maybe how can the universities, institutions can use our platform?
Yes, actually, that's a good question. Basically, what we're building again, inshallah, our goal is to set standards around the world when it comes to actually screening stocks. And one thing to do that is actually a lot of platforms, they don't have this kind of feature, unfortunately. So we, inshallah, want to actually work with financial institutions, and where we can have a partnership. They can use our service, and probably, let's say, for some kind of, could be right now, or some kind of investment platform or banks, they can use our service when their customer they use. For example, they can come up, they can also see the, not just the financial side of it, they can also share the compliance side of it, right? So some investors, for example, during, like, maybe it could be brokerage, or it could be some banks can offer, for example, like in US, a lot of banks, they offer trading features, right? So we can work with them, and we can actually integrate, we can help them integrate our screener into their platforms. This is something also we are interested, because we want to let people, as many people, know that actually what they're buying. A lot of Muslims, they, even my personal friends, they buy some stocks, they don't even know it's a Sharia compliant or not. When you tell them it's not, they're like, really? I didn't know that. Because it seems like, from, here's the point though, by looking at the operations, it's not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to say it's a Sharia compliant or not, because the operations could be good. For example, the company could make maybe like, I could say that they could just make cars, and you say, oh, there's nothing wrong with cars, but their financial side could be like paying a lot of debt, or maybe making a lot of interest income. So it's kind of hard to tell by looking at the company from outside, oh, it's a Sharia compliant. You wouldn't know unless you do more research. That's why we need to get to this message out there, so that people can actually use the service, and before their investments, because most Muslims, as you know, like, they pray 5 times, they're good Muslims. If they have that faith or discipline actually to pray 5 times, why would not they be careful with their investments? So that's why it's so important that people know when it comes to investments, and there is a responsibility, and there's gonna be, as we know, the question answered in Akhirah. So so it's important, just look at your financials also, and not spend your money where you don't know where you're spending. That's why we want to help not just the individuals, but also institutions, to integrate our service into their platforms, and let people know actually this company is not allowed or not. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's only 3 minutes left.
Okay.
It's time to you to give closing remarks or conclusion for the Musafa platform.
Yes. Again, as I showed, we have our team grow from 1 person to 30 people right now. Alhamdulillah, we have people from 6 countries working right now, from US, Canada, and from Uzbekistan, from India, from Indonesia, and Malaysia. Alhamdulillah, we are expanding. And right now, we start with a very comprehensive stock screener. But inshallah, by this year, we're going to launch our trading and investment platform. And with that, it's going to make this really like a one-stop shop for Muslims. So if they want to say everything halal, they don't need to worry about, they don't need to like screen in one place a stock, to buy somewhere else, do something. So 3-5 things, it's going to be too confusing. So we bring everything in one, including education. We have also Musafa community where people can come and ask questions, and Aulia can share the link. So there's a community you can sign up, and you can ask and answer questions. We want to bring Muslims around the world together in one place where they can share their actually passion, or they can share their visions, or any kind of questions that they have. And academy, they can learn, If they have some specific questions, they can ask us. I want to know about this. For example, you have an article about student loans. They ask, is it okay to get a student loan if I pay interest on it? Because I'm trying to get education. If there's some kind of question, they can write to us and we can actually prepare a whole article about it based on our research. That's why we can help. And building that platform is not just going to be trading, because I don't personally like trading, like high frequency trading. It's not even allowed. So when we say trading, we mean like investment platform, where you can buy investment for the long term and actually own a business, not just try to speculate if the stock's going to go up or down, I'm going to make like quick money. No, it's not our goal. Our goal is actually you come, you have some savings, you want to invest in a very good, decent company. Maybe you believe in something. Some people believe in, like, for example, making everything green, right? Or investing in a car company like Tesla, which has, again, which is not dependent on fossil fuel, right? If they have maybe passion for that, they want to invest in a company that make electric cars. Okay, in that way, they can invest their money, and then they believe in the cause, they also make money out of it. Okay, so in that case, we want to build this investment platform where they can do that, inshallah. Okay, and again, we're trying to cover a lot of different aspects, so we make it one-stop shop. So when you say Musafa, our goal is this one. That's how I personally, it's a very ambitious. We are very ambitious, alhamdulillah. We are hardworking people. So when I say, like, think about, like, if you want to search something, where do you go? You go to Google, because it became one-stop shop for all your searches. You don't need to go to Yahoo anymore or Bing anymore. So our goal is to make Musafa, inshallah, soon one place where people can say, okay, if I have anything, I'm just going to go to Musafa because they have an answer for it. And that's what our goal is. And inshallah, we're on the right path, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, we get the ease to investing in other global Islamic financial market. So we don't need to worry about our investment, about the halal issue mostly.
Yeah, one thing before we end it, I want to say that a lot of people for example, in Malaysia, when we reach out to a lot of financial managers, they invest money. They said they don't have an option. They go with, for example, TD Ameritrade, because they don't have a halal investment option. And people don't realize something. When you invest through the regular trading platform, they don't tell you that. But let's say Fadila Muhammad, right?
Right.
So let's say you have like $1,000 and you put in a regular trading platform, right? You put the Ameritrade, some American. Do you guys think that the $1,000 is there and you're not making a riba out of it, so they don't pay you interest? But they don't realize that they take your money and they get to someone else for 8% interest rate.
Oh yeah. So
they do it right away. That's how they make money. That's how they make money, because they make money from your money. You might think that, oh, I'm not making money, but you're still helping them make riba from your money. So they take that and they put interest. Who they gonna get interest? If somebody wants to buy something on margin and they're gonna give that money to someone else, they can buy some stocks. And then when the stock goes down, they're gonna force them to sell it because they want to cover their money. So basically they make money from your money, just 1%. And the regular people, they don't know it.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. It's like, you know, but if you're gonna say, oh, I'm not making this money, even if they're making money, it's on them. Well, that doesn't really work that way. If you know that you are helping them make riba from your own money, you're involved as well. So they don't tell you that, but inshallah, we want to change that game, right? We want to say, okay, we're not gonna charge interest from your money. Okay, we want to, for example, one way we can also, like, of course, we need to still make money to stay in business, but one way could be like a lot of people in Indonesia, Malaysia, they don't even have a bank account, right? Or we can act as also in a way in a bank. So they put their money, they can write checks, they can use it with debit cards and everything, but they pay very minimal fee for that. But it's still like becomes Sharia compliant, so you don't have to make money from that money. by giving it as a loan.
Thank you very much for your very immersive information, very massive information about the how we can access the global halal stock in worldwide. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's very insightful and breakthrough platform, I think. This is the first time I heard about Musafa. Then, yeah, this is very good for make Muslim can invest in the really safe investment. Okay, thank you for your presentation, for your knowledge. It's very honor to us to have this information. It's very new for us, especially for me.
No problem. Yeah, that's why we're here, to actually to help, because as I was saying, years of experience working in the United States and learning from traditional finance, which is much more advanced.
Yeah,
we see that in Islamic finance we need so much help because of the knowledge. It's like people don't have much knowledge about Islamic finance and products. That's why actually we're taking from traditional finance what we learned and actually applying to Islamic finance, actually, of course, in a proper manner.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dilshad. I think this is the end from our discussion. Hopefully, we can get a lot of useful information, and maybe we can join the Musafa platform to
Please
gain
feel free
more.
to join again.
Yes, to gain more knowledge.
Use the platform. Yes, for knowledge, definitely you can learn. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dilshad. I think this is the end for the main agenda for this seminar. Me, Fadil, permission for this main seminar. Thank you for everyone, participant who still join us. It's still 19 something in the room.
Yep. Okay.
Hopefully we can continue our relation. Maybe UMM, Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang will make some MOU or something. We can talk it about later. Thank you very much, Mr. Dilshad. I give it back the time to the MC. I close this event, this agenda. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, salam alaikum to everybody. Okay, thank you so much. Salam alaikum.
Thank you to moderator and Mr. Dilshad as the speaker for the presentation. It's very exciting to know Musafa, and hopefully we can build good engagement in the future, like maybe our students can internship in Musafa, maybe. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for the documentation today, please kindly to open your Zoom camera and we take a picture together. So to all participants, I hope that to open your Zoom camera to documentation today. Please.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, I will take a picture. The first slide. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And the next slide. Oh. Okay, thank you to all the participants. We remind you to fill in the participant attendance to all the participants at the link that has been shared by the committee in the Zoom room chat. And now come to the end of this event that close with this webinar with Alhamdulillah together. Alhamdulillah. On behalf of the House and the committee, we would like to extend once again our deepest appreciation to you all for your support in participation, and we wish you can meet in the next event. Thank you and good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Mr.
so much,
Dilshad.
Mr. Dilshad.
Thank you so much.
Maybe Mr. Salman, are you there?
Oh, yes,
Still there?
I'm here.
Oke, Salman, nanti kita connect lagi ya.
Oke, boleh. Terima kasih untuk UMM.
Uh,
We are proud to glad UMM as our collaborator in this webinar. And thank you so much, Mr. Fadila and Ms. Srita Henning and other faculty members. And hope we can arrange another webinar in this manner and another opportunity.
Yes, thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you to Aulia.
Thank you.
And the team, Sobat team, thank you so much for today. Kita bisa membangun kerjasama di lain kesempatan.
Insya Allah.
Saya leave dulu ya, saya keluar dulu. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bakery dibangun dalam rangka untuk menambah fasilitas bagi mahasiswa dan dosen, baik untuk penelitian maupun untuk pengembangan produk. Di samping itu, di dalam UM Bakery ini diproduksi roti yang bebas dari bahan pengawet, ya, sehingga diharapkan bisa memberikan efek yang menyehatkan. Ya. Ke depan, produk yang dikembangkan itu tidak hanya 100% menggunakan tepung terigu, tetapi juga akan menggunakan pati, ya, yang mengandung pati instan atau pati yang memberikan efek yang menyehatkan bagi tubuh.
Jadi produk-produk UMM Bakery itu hasil pengembangan dari